Oh man, that was cool. I need to catch up. I got to
Yeah, it
tell
was
you,
great.
it's been a
Appreciate it,
while.
Dean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, well, please. I just love how all of our friendships have, blossomed into where we're at now. Speaking of Anna Marie Mamondo, figures like that in our lives. And wow, Randy Morton, Olivia Brown, she was like one of my favorites, just literally.
Titans in our industry, for sure.
And what was the difference, do you think, between how we see them now and how we saw them then?
That was the difference. Well, I still really look up to both of them,
I do
all
too.
three of them, but I think that they really were able to see past like a title or
Hmm.
a
Yeah,
certain role and really
yeah,
just see the person,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And,
I agree.
I think the definition of class or, hospitality, they should have a picture of Anne Marie there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
and I never was able to like say, this is why. But she took me aside once and said some words to me that set me on a pathway from that moment forward. And there was a dinner we sat at once where she shared with my wife, and they two of them bonded in a certain way. Mike Dominguez kind of was the same way for me on the corporate side too. And like I really felt like he had always really invested in us as people. But I'm with you. I think what I've learned, coming from the inside out is like, the title of this podcast is Leadership Enlightenment. Is like it's not about a title. It's not about a presence. It's about this ideal. And they figured it out at some point in their careers, and they were able to bring it into the Bellagio and work with us in a special way where we saw that example. And I aspire every day to present myself to the people around me like that,
Yeah,
realizing
I,
like
I
that's
had
it,
lunch. I had lunch the other day with one of our, I guess another I guess I have a lot of mentors.
Yeah.
Mike Longi,
Oh yeah.
he was our CFO.
Hmm.
After all these years, I went up, he lives over in Blue Diamond and we had lunch and it was great. We caught up and I just remember the first story, like I had to ask him for like $350,000 to fix my main kitchen, some equipment. He was like, Eddie, what? And I was like, maybe you should, like, I just got to show you. And he did. He came down. He came down to the main kitchen. He spent like hour and a half with me and I showed him the whole system. I showed him the benefits and where were the risks, we would incur if we didn't do this and all these things. He just listened. He learned. He asked questions and he got down into like the weeds per se. And then after he was like, okay, makes sense. Approved.
Isn't that great? Yeah, that's
Right. And I was
awesome.
like, that's what you got to do. Right. If you're
Yeah.
unsure, well, go meet the people
Yeah.
where they are. Right.
And you'll find that humanity in 'em. I mean, definitely, I'll piggyback. Mike Longi and I, we worked together when he was at the Mirage before he made his way into the CFO role. And yet he would always stop if I saw him at the Bellagio, walk into an executive meeting or something and say hi. And there was that, like Tyler Shook was that same way to me in marketing over the years. And he would do the same thing. He would stop in his tracks and always recognize like, hey, how you doing? And these things, this to me is like the impacting part of the conversation. Cause I think we can all, see ourselves at a younger age and realize that these individuals are around us and we're like little puppy dogs, or at least I was trying to build this relationship with this person. And yet it really wasn't my job to build that relationship. It was my job to allow it to happen around me. And once I finally realized like, this is about growing and allowing yourself to grow, it started to focus in a way that I could
It,
really
it, it
appreciate the
really
people
happens
around me.
organically. Right.
Yeah.
And again, at that lunch, Dominique Bertolone was with us too,
Another one.
VP.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
he was a buster, at Le Cirque. And then at the time he left MGM, he was a senior vice president of food and beverage. Like,
Yeah. Right.
what a
Yeah.
journey.
And yet he didn't hold on to like he graduated through those understandings in the role. And he graduated really well. Like he was able to stand in front of us and authentically speak in a way that we could all appreciate. And a lot of times the message wasn't a good message. It was like, we're going to change. Things are changing and it's going to get even rougher. But I felt like we were part of a unit that we could do this together. And
Yeah.
I think the world needs that. I think as long as we're focused on that and we keep living in our day the same way, that we can impact and we can bring
Yeah,
that
it's
information
really
out.
good in ways of just trusting people and allowing people to do what they need to do. Sometimes the message is hard or difficult, but certain level of clarity goes a long way.
We grow and learn together. I'm gonna leave you with this. I remember having a conversation lunch with one of our peers. His name's Christopher Pizer. He was
Yes,
super smart guy. I mean, Christopher was,
super
his
smart.
intelligence went in a way where he would integrate computer interfaces between departments for accounting on inventory and things of nature that I couldn't even understand. So I'm at lunch with Christopher one day, and I'm very respectful of his intelligence. He's telling me the story, and I'm trying to keep myself in the story. And then it just goes right over my head. And I looked at him and I said, Chris, you're super intelligent, brother. That just went right over my head. And he looked at me with all the straightest face. He goes, nobody will ever listen to me, and I watch them all follow you. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I watch the hotel follow what you do, and they won't listen to anything I say. And I go, oh, it takes both of us, doesn't it? He said, you're goddamn right it does. This is the place where we all have to come from. And I think that's the lesson they learned. They knew their lane. They worked within their lane. They empowered themselves to their strengths, but they did not hold themselves accountable for things that they would consider weaknesses. They brought others into their lives. They collaborated and brought those strengths into the unit as a team, and not having to stand alone as the only person that knows. And I think that was the biggest lesson I took away from all those years, is
Yeah,
involve your community. The
and
community
Chris,
and your value is the point.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, bud. Great talking to you again. I look forward to catching up next year. Have a beautiful afternoon.
Likewise.